private, but it's private property they take a picture of.
It doesn't matter. We're on public. Yeah.
The right to pass is actually in the sidewalk. If you look at the property line.
Yeah, but we can. The law is that you can photograph anything from public.
Right, but technically this isn't public property.
This part. This right here is public property. This sidewalk.
Well, if you like, I can show you where the line is.
We know where the line is.
That's not it.
And we're here.
That's not it.
Where's the courtesy card that you guys have been handing out?
You can't restrict someone taking a picture on a private sidewalk, on a public sidewalk. I mean, we can't go on your private property, but on a public sidewalk, we can do whatever we want. I assure you.
Do you also realize that the actual sidewalk, and this is putting politics aside, putting all the bullcrap aside. This is the sidewalk itself is owned by the property.
No, it's not. Up until a point.
Yeah, it's not the entire sidewalk.
Why do you think that the sidewalk is a different color than the other?
That plaque right there, that says where your property is and where the city still owns.
Because usually when a property like this is constructed, there are agreements between the companies and the city about the architecture and how it's going to be built. But there's an easement. There's an easement defining what is private property and what is public.
Usually we hand out a courtesy card. That said, you got the courtesy card.
Yeah, we know. But why did you tell us off the bat that it was? We needed property.
This is what US Bank Tower gave us. They
have
that's
the same. That's the courtesy card.
But why were you telling us?
We respect photographers' constitutional rights.
Right.
We have a right from the Constitution that says we're allowed to take photos on a public sidewalk.
I understand that. But what I was telling you is, if you're taking pictures of the actual property itself, property management likes to give permission for that.
Well, we don't need permission. That's the thing.
You don't know the law, and you're trying to enforce something that's illegal. And people have been sued by this. People have gone to court over this. ACLU has taken its case on many, many times.
I understand.
And you don't really understand the law. You're trying to enforce it.
I know. Do you really want to be? Like, you should ask your superiors about this, saying because you're coming out here, we're having this encounter where it's like you're telling us it's illegal or we need permission to photograph something when that's not the case. Like we've gone through this with US Bank Tower, with Carlos and Patrick Silver.
Which is why we started hanging out cards, because again, it's a courtesy card that we give you guys.
But I think
we respect your rights. Right?
But you're still trying to harass us off your side.
You know what I think is
trying to harass you. I'm not.
You kind of are.
Yeah, this is what I think was happening.
You're whenever you want. I'm just.
I know. We understand that, but this is what I think is happening. Some people don't know the law, and you come out and tell them you can't photograph the building, and they say, "Oh, really? Okay," and they walk away. Right. I bet 90% of the population doesn't know the law.
Right. Well,
so in that case, you guys tell people something that's not accurate, and then they go about believing it as fact in law when it's not, and that's the problem. Well, you guys as a company should not be coming out to a public sidewalk telling people that they can't photograph a building from a public sidewalk.
Like I said,
it's preposterous.
I'm saying we're having a conversation about what I'm telling you what we hand out and why we hand it out.
So if you knew that card existed, why did you come up and tell us that we couldn't take photos of the property without permission? Why did you play that card?
Because you're taking actual photos of the property. That's what I'm saying.
But we were taking I was taking photos of the property up there too.
Where?
There's no. I was taking it of the building.
Where would you do that?
Up there. Okay. But I can photograph this as much as I want from the public sidewalk.
And I'm not arguing that.
But you were saying
what I asked you was, did you get permission from the property?
But we don't need permission from property management. That's
were you
the
on the property over there, or were you not?
I was on the public sidewalk the whole time.
So you weren't on the property at all? Because I just saw you when you got on the sidewalk.
Taking photos?
Yeah. Right, but I didn't see whether you were on the property or not. So that's what I was asking.
I was on the public sidewalk the whole time.
That's why I was asking.
Well, we knew where to stay and where not to go. So we're well aware of what we can and cannot do. So
I know you guys are aware, but I'm just.
And this whole thing really,
but
what they're making.
See, the thing is, you just submitted saying that you never saw us go onto the property or not if we were on the public side. But then when you first saw us, we were always on the public property. When you first approached us, we were on this part of the side.
But what I asked you was, if you're going to be on private property, you need to have permission for the private property.
Yes, that's true.
That's all I said. I didn't say that you guys were on private property now. I said you guys.
You told us specifically you can't take photos of.
You're going to be on the property.
You didn't say that.
No, you played it as like
you're kind of revising, but it's fine. I mean,
you came up to us saying like the rule is that you can't take photos no matter what where you are. That's how it came across.
Like I said, we respect you guys' ability to take photos. You guys can take as many photos as you want, and that's why I did. Okay, but like I said, if you guys make a private property, then that's what
we stay off the private property.
I want to make sure that you guys are fully aware of that. So that
but you were telling us that this whole sidewalk was private property 5 minutes ago, but that's not true.
They do have the right to pass placard at the beginning of each property.
Yeah, but on this 4 feet of the sidewalk, not this 10 feet. This is ours.
If you went into measure,
this belongs to the gas company. Is the gas company even a private company?
Gas company?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But if talking straight, when I saw you, you were on this side of the line. Were you not?
No, I was right here.
Okay.
That's my framing. That's what I wanted. I wanted plants and an escalator.
I just think it's worth maybe going over with your supervisor. Like, why are you enforcing this rule? Like, is this for terrorism? Like, what is it for? Copyright infringement? Like, why?
Well, there is no copyright infringement. There's no trademark infringement or intellectual property rights violations.
Is it a 9/11 thing?
It all started. I'm sure it all. Well, from what I know, it all started. It's called post 9/11 for to be more cautious about who is taking pictures and what. I mean, we don't want to infringe your rights as a citizen to take photos. That's not what we're trying to do.
But that's what you did when you approached us.
Again,
you approached us. You told us no photos of the property. No, I was not on that side of the line.
Right there, you were. I mean, obviously we're both going to have different opinions. That's always going to happen.
Yeah.
We're not trying to infringe your rights as photographers at all. And the fact that I came up here and I told you that's just to make sure that you guys don't go on the private property.
No.
And that's it.
No. No.
Okay.
Just maybe in the future, maybe you just will know to approach people a little bit more.
Or we were up at the U.S. Bank Tower 5 minutes ago, and he came out and said, "Sir, here's a pamphlet on our photography policy."
Right.
And he just gave it to me and walked away. He did not say.
Because we went through a huge deal. We've actually worked on this issue a lot. We know what the laws are. We've worked with people about this.
We actually run a photographers' rights organization and work with the ACLU on this.
We actually, I think it was because of our effort that the U.S. Bank Tower now hands out this card.
Yeah.
So, they totally get it now.
And that's the same card we hand out.
Yeah.
It's the same company.
But they totally get it. They understand. They cannot harass us. Before this happened, this June.
You may have seen the video. You may have seen the U.S. Bank Tower encounter that we had with Patrick Silver.
On a public sidewalk. You just
I didn't see that.
They were telling us we were going to be arrested for photographing the building.
Yeah, threatening people with arrest, calling
us idiots. No, they didn't call the cops. We call the cops. They said they were going to call the cops.
They were calling you names and stuff?
Yeah, idiots. Patrick Silver called us an idiot a bunch of times. Morons,
So they learned.
Sandy,
obviously, they trained their security.
Bragging about how he had 2 degrees.
Now all they do is just pass this out. That's fine.
And I don't have any cards on me, so otherwise you would have gotten another one. But like I said, all I'm doing is having a conversation with you guys.
Yeah.
Because typically we don't have conversations. We just it's one side or the other. And that's not what it should be. We should work together so that we can make sure that.
I think you should think about approaching people who are photographing this building. You should approach them differently as opposed to telling them that they can't photograph the building.
Right.
You need to come up to them these are the rules. We understand the rules. This side of the sidewalk is private property. This side of the sidewalk is public. You can photograph the building from the public property as much as you want. But if you go over there, we can ask you to leave.
And again,
but you did not do that.
Typically, we don't go into that. Had I had a card,
you just want to use the.
I thought I saw it on that line. And again, it's what I saw, and it's where you were.
Are you the same company?
Yeah. It's UPS and.
So again, it's what I saw, and it's where you were. You're saying you weren't on that side. I'm telling you, I saw you on the other side. So it's a matter of opinion.